Hello, it's Support for Carers here. I hope you're doing really well. It's yet another absolutely beautiful day in Leicestershire. We had the heat wave this time last week, then the storm at the weekend, and now it seems fairly settled for early March, so let's hope it stays that way. I thought I'd talk today about driving. It is one of the sticking points that carers encounter when they're perhaps having to have that difficult conversation with the person they care for, that they may want to think about giving up their driving licence. I absolutely understand that it's so important to a lot of people. I myself live in a village where there is virtually no public transport, and I know that a car is a lifeline for a lot of elderly people, but at the end of the day you have to keep within the law. You don't want to hurt yourself, and you certainly don't want to be responsible for hurting or killing somebody else. So I thought I'd take a look at where the law stands on this issue. Now, I've had a look at the DVLA website, and there are some conditions that are notifiable. That means that you must report to the DVLA if you've been diagnosed with one of these conditions. There is quite a comprehensive list of conditions on the DVLA website, which I shall link to below, and you can click on the individual condition and they will tell you what you have to do about it. If you don't tell the DVLA about a medical condition or a disability that could affect your driving, there's a fine of up to £1,000, and if you did cause an accident as a result of your condition, you would be prosecuted. What happens after you tell the DVLA then? Well, you get a grace period of up to 6 weeks, during which time you can usually keep your driving licence, and in that time they might seek the opinion of your GP or a consultant. They might ask you to take an eye test, have a physical examination, or even resit your driving test. They have to be sure that you are safe to be on the road, so you don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt anybody else. The DVLA might not ultimately decide that you have to give up your driving licence completely. They might just give you a shorter one. Most people know that after the age of 70 you have to renew your licence every 3 years anyway, so they may decide that your licence is only valid for 1 or 2 years if they expect your condition to progress, for example. Or they might decide that you have to have special controls fitted to your car so you can control it more safely. Hopefully it will never come to this, but you may get to the situation where you feel that you have to report the person that you care for, or somebody else that you know, who is driving poorly and unsafely as a result of their medical condition or disability. Basically, if you think they're unfit to drive. There's a website that enables you to do this, and it is completely anonymous. And it's not a nice thing to have to do, and you will probably feel like you're shopping them. But on the other hand, do you really want it on your conscience if you know that they're no longer fit to drive and they hurt themselves or somebody else? You've got to be able to live with yourself at the end of the day. This is probably stating the obvious, but the DVLA can only report if the person's lack of fitness to drive is down to a medical condition or disability. If somebody's just an unsafe driver, your first port of call would have to be the police. In the event that you do have to give up driving, we would recommend that you look for a volunteer car scheme in your area. This means, as it sounds, that volunteers use their own vehicles to transport people to hospital appointments, social engagements, doctors, dentists, hairdressers, lunch clubs, that sort of thing. It's not completely free because the scheme has a cost to administer and the drivers have to be reimbursed for their fuel, but it does work out significantly cheaper than using a taxi. We certainly have such a scheme at Vassal that operates in parts of Harbour District, and I will look into the ones that operate elsewhere in Leicestershire and link below this video. One thing that's really nice about volunteer car schemes, and I do have a couple of friends who drive for the Vassal one, is that you get more of a door-to-door seamless service than you would do with a taxi. For example, if you have an appointment of under 2 hours at one of the hospitals, the volunteer driver will not only drive you there, but they will make sure you get to the appointment and they will sit and wait for you until you come out. Obviously they can't do that if you're going to be there all day. There are only so many cups of coffee a volunteer can be expected to drink, but certainly if it's a short appointment they will tend to wait for you. I hope that video has been of some use. Do give us a ring if you're unsure about this with anybody you care for, and we'll try to guide you in the right direction. I'm off, ironically, to get my car serviced, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the sunshine.